the Know Your Gear podcast.
Hey, here's a soldering question. As a beginner, and I assume they mean solder, would I be able to solder inside in my apartment, or do I have to go outside to solder? Sorry for for our European friends if I'm not hitting the L hard enough on solder or whatever. I'm sorry, but this is just how I say it, solder. Anyways, it says, I hear mixed feelings about soldering inside. I would love to practice inside if possible, but not sure if it's okay. So let me show you a couple things. As someone who soldered in an apartment and in my home and everywhere, I think there's some definite safety measures you should take. I'm going to give you all of the ones I think you should take. And of course, always with caution, everything with caution. So the first thing I'm going to suggest to you is buy this solder station. This is the Weller 70-watt digital soldering station. This is $95.38 on Amazon. You can get it from wherever you would like to get it. I'm just showing you the one on Amazon because it's one I know we all have access to. This is absolutely my favorite soldering station, especially for a hobbyist. By far, it does pro level work, but of course hobbyist. A couple reasons. Why? One, you can set the temperature right there, which is really cool. The second thing is you can buy different tips for it. I suggest you getting some different tips, and also you can buy parts for it. If it was to need parts in the future, because Weller is a well-established brand who's been around for a long time. But more importantly, there's a safety feature that I love in this, which is when you set it, like if you set it like I do, really hot, what happens is after so many minutes, I don't know. I'm sure if you read the description, it tells you 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know. I just know all of a sudden you're working and the temperature starts dropping, and it drops to the lowest temperature on the iron. And that's doesn't make it safe. But let me tell you two reasons why you do that. One, you didn't say if you have kids or pets, but that's a factor. So we're going to talk about fire in your house or your apartment, and then kids and pets. So kids and pets first. Having it drop down to the lowest temperature means that if a kid or a pet was to brush, especially this part, this is usually where they get themselves. This part right here, this is basically the heat sink or the heat saddle, whatever you want to call it, for this solder iron, and that's going to be really hot, and that's usually what they touch, and they can burn themselves. Now, obviously, if this thing drops to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and the iron's in there, they touch themselves. It's still not going to be nice, but it's not going to be the insane thing that would be if it was at 700, 800 degrees. So definitely better for there. So that's one thing. The other thing I like about this particular model is that by decreasing its heat, it's less likely, not unlikely, not impossible, less likely to start a fire because it's not going to be super hot. I definitely recommend that you attach this to a power strip. The way I do it now, because I have the luxury of doing everything in my studio, everything in my office, everything just out of years of habit of having the shop is connected to a master power switch. When I leave the room and I hit the power switch, everything in that room is off. I don't care if it's this light over here, if it's a soldering iron, if it's the saw, whatever it is, it's all turned off. I don't even take a chance and leave a couple things like charging batteries and stuff. I just go, you know what, if they didn't charge today, then they're out. And I think that's a nice redundant safety thing. So those are two things. The other thing that now we have to worry about, now that we've hopefully... also, another thing you can do, by the way, I should point this out too, is you can put the soldering station on a plate. When I say a plate, like a tray, something, obviously it's not going to catch fire like wood or something, but you put it on a tray, and therefore when you turn it off, what's nice is, let me go back to it, another great feature of this soldering station, it's right here on this back, right here, is that you can unplug it from here. And so what's nice is if you wanted to, you could take the whole station, this thing right here, and unplug the power from it, and if it's on a plate or something, walk it out to your patio and put it on your patio and get it out of the area or in a safe zone for, again, kids and pets. Just something to think about. The other thing I'm going to suggest that you have that I really think is important, if you're going to solder inside a house or an apartment, is this thing right here. There's a bunch of different ones. Pick whichever one you think is going to work for you. Make your own decisions. But this is definitely a solder fume extractor. This is the one I like. There's two versions. I have the more expensive version. I don't normally suggest you have to buy this one, but in an apartment I would. So the reason the expensive version has these two arms that have the alligator clips, so that if you want to solder something right here, what happens is this is going to suck the solder into this filter, and it's going to make it a little safer. I still recommend eyewear and maybe a mask, but this is just to make it better for you in the long run. And of course, if you have somebody in the room, let's say you're in the kitchen area of the apartment and somebody's sitting on the couch watching TV, this is going to be helpful to have this suck up that in the area. Now, that's, again, you make all your decisions yourself, so I'm not telling you to just do it with people in the room and stuff. I'm just being honest that that's just something I did. I soldered at the kitchen table while somebody sat on the couch. You know, maybe we were young and dumb, or maybe we're just broke. I don't know. But either way, we did it. The other thing that is nice is that you can do with this is you can also buy lead-free solder. And so I hate lead-free solder to work with, but I would definitely say that if you're going to be in a confined area with no ventilation, and keep that in mind too, if you can open the windows, that'd be nice as well. Again, eye protection, some kind of ventilation, definitely all very appropriate things. But I would definitely say, especially if you have people in the room with you and they didn't elect to take on the risk that you're taking, I would get the lead-free solder and just keep it that way. But I use leaded solder when I solder now because I like the way it melts. It's a little easier. I have something to suck the fumes out of the way. I wear something to protect myself. And again, if any of these seem extreme, I can tell you right now, no matter what I say, somebody's going to tell me I'm not being safe enough, and somebody's going to tell me I'm being too safe. So you make your own choices in life. I just told you what I've done and what works for me, and the tools that I would recommend. And I think if you think about that, if you look at those two tools, although not inexpensive by any means, you know, $40 for the fan, and what was this soldering station? Was that it was $95. So you're talking about $150 with tax, all in. Not a little bit of money, but not an insane amount of money for safety. And I can't tell you about the fume fan per se, but I'll tell you that Weller will probably, if you take care of it, last you a lifetime. So it's a $95 buy once, cry once purchase. Those are my suggestions if you want to solder in. And I say, you said apartment, and I'm saying apartment, but also I'm just going to say confined space. You know, places without ventilation, places that are not industrial, places, you know, something like that. The other thing I recommend, besides my pushing my finger in my ear, is we have here at the house, you can get a fire extinguisher. That's a really good idea to have around. You can get those at Costco. And also, you can get a fire blanket. And we have those, believe it or not, we have them everywhere I work. I have a fire blanket. We have these, see how it has a little hole right there? We have these hanging everywhere. We have one in the garage. We have one in the kitchen. We have one in my shop area. We have one anywhere we work with anything that can be flammable. We have one of these, and then we have 2 fire extinguishers in the house. I think a small one in the sink and then one in the garage that we get to quickly. But in your case, maybe this is just enough, but I would have something like this. So just, again, what was the price on this? $25 for your safety. So something like that. If somebody has great suggestions too, you know, go ahead. Go ahead and make suggestions. But I'm just telling you what I use, why I like it, and safety first. I'm a safety first kind of person. You know, I don't know why I am that way. But I am that way. Safety first. So if you like this clip and you'd like to watch another one, you can click right here. And if you want to see the entire episode of the podcast, you can click right there. As always, thank you for your time and know your gear.